So today we have such an exciting speaker today and session for you. Some more really cool ways to use tech in the class, but we're looking at from lecture to learning, designing engaging choice-driven digital lessons. And we all know just how important choice is in student learning. So you are in for an exciting night tonight. So here's our agenda. Our team is going to do just a little bit of a warm welcome and some introductions, and then we're going to get out of the way for our featured speaker. And then if you stick around, we've got a quick Padlet where you can give us some feedback. Just let us know how you're going to use these strategies. And if you just have like some cool ideas or just want to throw a comment on there. So stay till the end. We really evaluate and value that feedback from you guys. It helps us plan. But yeah, here we go. So this is the Teacher Innovation Network team. This is our fourth year, guys, a fourth year working together. And I just have the pleasure of working with these three fabulous women. So we have Stephanie Samarna, and we have Sarah Kolbeck, and we have Anu Gupta, and we are from all over the state. Santa Cruz, Stephanie, Shasta, Sarah, and then San Jose, Anu, and I'm Tawny Reinhardt from Sacramento. And the running joke in our team is that we are all SCOEs, right? County Offices of Ed that start with an S. So it's kind of fate that we get to work together. But this is the team. We're on the chat all night. So if you have a question, drop it in there and we will make sure to catch it, answer it, bring it up to our presenter, and we will get your information to you. Okay, we have a Padlet map that we've been creating since the very first EdTech Playground 4 years ago. So if this is your first time, we definitely want you to hop on that map, drop your pin so we can see just where our EdTech Playground community, how far it spreads. So add yourself there. And then to get us going today, we've got a quick little just kind of warm welcome check-in. It's March, right? We're entering into the last part of the school year, spring break season, also right before state testing. So where are you at right now, right? Which vibe best described your classroom most days? And there's zero judgment here, y'all. Teaching is a marathon, not a sprint. So where are you at? 1 through 5. Go ahead and enter your number into the chat. Nice. Nice. Oh, I see lots of 2s and 4s, and I relate to both of those so deeply, right? It really depends on what's going on in my day and where I'm at. And sometimes you're in survival mode, and then sometimes you're in innovation mode. You are in the right spot because you're going to have some great ideas from today to take back into your classroom. I love the 4s in there as well, right? And even 5s, but you're looking for maybe a different way to try some things. And our guest speaker today is just chock full of them. So awesome. All right, and I'm going to hand it over to my teammate Anu.
Hi, and thank you, Tawny. And I am ready to introduce to you our featured speaker. I have the privilege and honor to introduce you. That's Lisa Highfill. She's an experienced educator, EdTech leader, and proud geek dedicated to reimagining how students learn through curiosity, innovation, and design. She has served Pleasanton Unified School District for over 30 years, goodness, and currently teaches middle school at its hybrid project-based virtual academy. Since earning her master's in EdTech leadership in 1998, she has become a Google certified innovator, merit fellow, and leading edge digital educator. Lisa has served on advisory boards including Google EDU and Imagine K-12 and presents nationwide on educational technology. She is also co-creator and co-author of the HyperDoc Handbook and Teachers Give Teachers. So we have an amazing presenter with us today, and I will not take away any more minutes, and I'm going to hand it over to Lisa. Thank you for being here, Lisa.
Thanks so much. What a nice introduction. Thank you. It's great to see a huge Zoom full of people. I know you've all been working and at this hour. And so I'm really thrilled you're with me today. It is one of my favorite topics. Good to see faces I know here. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. You know how you have that, like, oh, I cannot wait to present about this because every time I just get excited about it. If you've heard me talk about this topic before, I probably will say something new. As a matter of fact, I added a new slide about 10 minutes ago because it's something new I just did in my classroom this week. And so it's really authentic and on it. And I'll tell you what makes me excited about today's topic. I started to present about multimedia text sets. Oh gosh, it was maybe it definitely over 10 years ago, maybe like 11 years ago. It was one of my first presentations I used to do. It still holds up. When something holds up for over 10 years and it really evolves and adapts, you know you're onto something. And so I appreciate like it really, yes. Multimedia tech sets, thank you. It was such a old name. That is the original name for what I'm going to talk about. Have you heard of choice boards, though? Nowadays, back when I was a kid, it was called multimedia tech sets. Nowadays, it's choice boards because honestly, I think it was really hard to say all right, kids, you're going to do a multimedia tech set. And they're like, yay. They didn't kind of get what that was. So, choice board maybe is a more fun name. I'm going to confuse you today. I'm going to even throw in explore boards. So, if I use the names interchangeably, to be frank, I don't care what you call it. It's just a really good digital lesson, and that's what I care about. And most importantly, I just want to start off with this before we even get into the lesson. I care about kids being curious learners. Like I am so that is what I wake up every day and go, today we're going to be curious, whether you like it or not. You are going to be curious, students. And it's just a mission I have. I want to get over the robot student who marches into your class every day, sits down, and says, just tell me what to do. It's just easier that way. And I believe choice boards, tech sets, however you want to call them, has been definitely my answer to that. So, with that, as I'm getting ready to share screen, I'd love to hear what grade level you work with or teach in the chat. That would be really helpful because I'm going to gear that conversation uh, and share examples as much as possible around that. A little bit about myself. You heard I teach middle school now. I am back to the classroom. I was a tech coach for about 10 years, and I've been teaching middle school for 2.5 years now in a virtual school. Remember those days? Yep. So this Zoom, can you tell I'm really comfortable in Zoom because this is my day every day. I don't teach live every day, but I teach sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, all subjects over Zoom often. And I need to get them curious and creating and excited for this kind of work all the time. We are a project-based learning school too. So if I could throw in more buzzwords, if it's possible, we try to do it all, and it's been some of the best instruction I've ever done in my life. That's a whole other workshop another day. So I love the variety I'm see all the way from second grade. A lot of high school. You're gonna like this high school. It works really well. Multimedia was a common term. I know. Ugh, it's things change. Well, you heard my master's was in 1998. Do you know how helpful that is now? Yeah, none at all. Not at all. But we do keep up, right? So, oh, great. These are a great span here, and I think it will appeal to all of you. I did start off with an image that is really to set that mental space for you today. When I teach digital lessons, which is my background, HyperDocs are digital lessons that I create and give to students. These are not HyperDocs that I'm talking about today. These are different, but I needed something to teach kids how to explore. and learn. They didn't know how. They were like, if I gave them some things to put on the table, and I'm like, all right, you guys explore. Tell me what these all, have in common. After like 2 minutes, everyone's done. I'm done. What do I do next? I'm like, no, be curious, take a dive. And so I see it as this is the training wheels, not only for educators on how to deliver digital lessons. It's a huge part of this. How do you deliver it? It's very important. But how do participants learn from digital lessons? And so I think this is where you start. This is the training wheels to that. And it also begins with this philosophy of a cycle of learning. And I repeat this, if you've ever heard me talk, I'm a broken record about this. I used to teach a lot where I would stand in front of the room, the kids would walk in, I would explain the concept, and then they would take notes, and I would assign work to let them practice, and then I would assess that work. They'd come back into school, and the cycle would start over again. And that is not to say I don't still use that cycle of learning, because sometimes I do. Sometimes everyone just come in and sit down, and I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to assign you, and you have to vary your cycle of learning. But the problem was it wasn't working in some areas. So when there's a problem in my classroom and I notice that students aren't getting it, they're not doing their work, the scores are not great, they're not listening, they're misbehaving. Instead of me going to this, like, what's wrong with kids these days? It's their phones. They can't focus. No, I had to stop doing that because I've been teaching you heard 30 years. It's always something. It's not changed. They didn't have cell phones back, when I started teaching, and I had to really take ownership. My motto with being a tech coach forever was it's always user error, and that can be hard. That can be hard to swallow that. I say it to myself every day, and so I'm kind of good with it. I make errors constantly. So the error in my instructional practice, maybe it was what I was asking them to do. Maybe if I shifted what I asked them to do, it might change the way they learn and absorb information, and it might take away some behaviors. And I'm not saying this is a miracle, but it was a miracle for me. It really worked. I shifted things. I asked kids to explore before I explain. They walk into the classroom, they walk into the Zoom or wherever we do this, and they have to engage cognitively from the onset. There's no like, just tell me what to do. They're already half filling out the worksheet or whatever I had them do for the day. They had to like go, what? I have to think today. Oh my gosh. So they had to explore first, and then I explained the concept. I revised schema. I was able to find out where did they go wrong? Where do they have it? Are they off? Where do they have it where they're way beyond my content? I don't need to re-explain this today. They already get it. And so that changed the way I explain. And then they had to apply that knowledge. It's the so what, now what? That authentic application. Now, I can't do this every day, every lesson. So deep breath, and let's start once a month. Let's just try this idea. So this is where multimedia tech sets came in, or choice boards. It allows students to explore content. It extends the learning. So if you're like, students are, you know how you teach a concept, you're like, there's so much more I wish I could have covered. It allows you to extend that content for those who are still curious, who still want to learn more. It's also really great for reviewing a concept because it's all curated. So let's get to what are choice boards and different ways to look at it. We've talked about some of the things they do. They build curiosity, student agency, lots of UDL principles built into it, and it's inquiry learning. Oops, it went to, there we go. This is what I started to create years ago. I wanted it to look like a game board. That was really important to me that I was able to have something that kids were like, what's this? I've never seen this before. and also not be too overwhelmed. This can be very overwhelming when you first see this. We did call these game boards. It was kind of fun to do that. But basically, what I did was I had a unit. We were teaching about refugees. I gathered everything that I wanted to talk about in that unit, and I just curated it into this choice board, into one space. Now, would I always get to all that content? Absolutely not. Are some of these things on that board something that I really stand by and really need to teach with? Absolutely. And so it's a lot of choosing. Now, instead of me telling you about it, let's have a little experience with it. So you're in my class and you just walked into class. And so, good morning, class. I have a question for you. I want you to look at this photo and really study it. Tell me in the chat an inference you have about these people. If you already know these people, don't tell me, don't spoil it. Give me an inference. I'll give you an example. They're dressed really nice. They're dressed up. I see suits and dresses. Tell me more in the chat. Go ahead, everyone. They may be members of the same family. Yeah, they do look alike. Anyone else? They're on vacation. Yeah, it's a ship. Family cruise. Anyone else? Yeah, wealthy to be traveling on a ship. St. Louis and Germany, Hamburg. Yes, there you go. You see, you're getting some clues. All right, I see some people are catching on. This is not a modern photo. Very good. It's in the past. You get a clue by some of the outfits, some of the styles. Yeah, remember the St. Louis. So some of you are picking up on this. You have schema for this. You've seen this. And you're correct, class. This is a group of refugees. And they were leaving Germany to avoid being, 1930s. During the war, they were avoiding Nazi Germany and being sent to camps. They were refugees. They were all aboard the St. Louis. They went first to Cuba and were denied. And then they went to United States and Canada and they were denied. And they were sent back to Germany. And today we're going to talk about who are refugees. And I hope that that kind of curiosity might lead you to really want to explore our Explore board today. Because one of the squares on it has to do with the St. Louis Manifest. And I understand it's a Twitter feed. This is something that somebody did and put out tweets from people who would have been on that ship. But I encourage you to read more if you have access to the article and to learn more about who these people might be and about who are refugees. So during this time period, I'm going to see, there we go. I would like you, and I'm not going to give too much time because we have so much to do today. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes. That's everyone in the Zoom here. And I want you to find a square and learn as much as you can about it. Okay? And if you want to do more than one square, you're fine to do that. I know I have a 5-minute timer. I'm going to set my own timer here. But I want you to just sit quietly and I want you to learn as much as you can in 4 minutes. Anyone have questions before we start? Okay, you may begin. All right, I'm going to stop a minute early um, and share. You saw me put in the chat. I apologize if some of the links are not currently working. I did that on purpose because I wanted to prove the point. If you use any of these resources today, you have to check every single link because they go out, they change. And so I didn't do it on purpose, but I should have done it on purpose because nothing worse than the kids will say, that's not working. I'm like, pick a different square or, yeah. And if you're not on X, yeah, and the Common Lit account. I was on that earlier today and I was thinking about that. Common Lit changed. I should have taken a PDF of that story, or better yet, I would replace that story. There's other publications out about that story. So I definitely could do that. So those are ways that if you like this text set, you would go to File, make a copy, and put what you want in those squares. But before that, you're free to unmute. This is group participation time to share out. And I'm really good at reading the chat, but you can also unmute. Tell me what you felt like as a learner in 3 minutes. I know you had 3 minutes, but what were your thoughts as you were doing this? Anyone, you can put in the chat or unmute. How'd you feel as a learner?
Sorry for my stuffy nose.
Yes.
I felt it was good that I could click on a link, and if I didn't connect with what I saw, I could just try something else, and that freedom made me feel less pressure, I guess.
Nice, nice. Anyone else? I'm seeing a lot of that in the chat.
Yes, I
Uh,
think it was deep. It just addressed to different layers of what a refugee is in terms of vocabulary, in terms of how US approves refugees and different parts of the country. So
mhm,
I think it has many dimensions. That's what I've seen. And it
mhm.
kind of engaging, it was not boring at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's engaging. The choice is, I wanted you to feel it, and you really nailed it on your comments. Trisha, I really appreciate your comment. You didn't have to watch any videos. You could choose to read instead, which is your preference. And when I said I want my learners to be curious learners, I want them to learn about themselves and how they prefer to learn. And that is very important. And I probably would spend time one day after class just talking about, I would ask that question, how do you feel as a learner on here? And what does that tell you about your future learning preferences and styles? Yes, I see a lot of choice. Um, and I see, Alfonso, you explored the pilgrimage walk and how you can search. It was very interesting. Can you see how you could get lost in one of the boxes, just one of them? And you're probably wondering, like, well, how do you get through this? Um, yeah. Yes, Jennifer, there's something for everyone on this choice board. And it's very important as the instructor. I took a lot of time to make this. Can you tell me, as a teacher, psychoanalyze some of what I did on here to get kids to join in? What was it about this choice board? Like in terms of design style. For example, I used keywords. Those keywords are DOK words. And so I remember when DOK was around and everyone was like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't judge if you use it correctly or however you use it. I just used it as a variety of DOK 1 through 4 on here. They don't know that. They don't know it's 1 through 4. I just use words from the DOK lists. And I knew if I had struggling students, I knew I wanted to point them in the direction of certain squares. If I had really advanced students, I would whisper, hey, I put this square in here right now. Can you check it out for me? Because I thought you'd be interested in that. And I want your feedback if that square should stay there. Oh my gosh. They're like, I'm all over it. I'll let you know how that square is. So it's kind of funny to see that. Yes, Tony, you caught the essential question in the middle to guide their exploration. Thank you for knowing that. Uh-huh. That's exactly. And sometimes they don't even notice it till later. Do you notice there's a variety of images? How do the images help you with this? Now, you can say it's overwhelming. It's okay. I can take it. I agree sometimes. It's a lot. This was actually for a high school class, so there's a variety of images. I don't want them all to be photos. It's too much. You should see them when they're all photos. It's like, what am I looking at? I used Noun Project for some of the icons. They knew right away the YouTube videos were the play buttons. And I just tried to put pictures that would intrigue them. I think, and I'm going to open this, I think every one I have, every tech set, and I shouldn't say this because now I'm going to prove myself wrong. I try to put a map on every one. And I love sending my most reluctant learners in on the map. And I go over and I sit with them during this time. And I say, can we explore this together? You cannot believe this map. It is unbelievable. You should see what is here. And so we go in, I'm like, do you even know where you're at? And look at this. Did you know these are refugee camps? And did you know around the world where those refugee camps? Are you surprised? Like, where are all of the refugee camps? And so I just sit there and start pummeling the questions. And the kid's like, yeah. And then I have to teach them how to be curious, how to wonder, how to explore those curiosities. And then I start opening other tabs. And I'm saying, is that all the places in the world where the refugee camps are? Is that possible? Why don't we open another tab and Google it? Um, or now I would say, let me open up my bestie, ChatGPT. I'm going to ask ChatGPT and see what it says. And then we can confirm that. So what has happened here is I've taken my daily lecture. The kids come into class. Um, the kids come into class every day prior to me doing this unit. This is building, front loading information before I teach a unit about refugees. I give them the opportunity to build background knowledge. You know how we need to even the playing field. Some people know a lot about this. Maybe they have family. Maybe they are. I have a refugee myself right now in my class, knew all about this, or maybe they know nothing about it. So we need to even the playing field with our students before we teach the lesson. And I found that this works really well. And they would come in each day. This was my bell work when I was in person. Right now, it's the first thing in the Zoom. And I give 8 minutes. 8 minutes is a magical number. I don't know why I give 8 minutes. If it's more, it's too much time. If it's less, then they do not explore very well. They're like, oh, I only have 3 minutes, like I gave you. And you're like, I don't have much time, so I'm not going to get too curious. I'm not going to get too deep into this. 8 minutes seems to be a sweet spot. You can play around with that. I set a timer. And when I was doing this in front of students in the classroom, I was able to take roll. I was able to do lunch counts. I was able to check in with students. I was able to sit by my language learners and work with them and do a couple squares with them or one square. And I would let them know after the first day. I was like, okay, so what'd you think? And they're like, I didn't finish. I didn't get to all of it. And they're so confused. They're overwhelmed. And I said, I wanted you to feel that a little bit because I'm here to tell you, you have a whole week or maybe 2 weeks of 8 minutes every day you walk in. You're going to open this up and you can try a new square. And if there's a square you're not into, you can skip it. But what I am going to ask you to do is I want you to click the link in the middle to the Padlet, which I'm not sure. Something's been crazy with my Padlets. Let's see if they still work. Still works. But there's been a lot of new additions, so I need to clean that up. I want you to think about this question here, and I want you to post your questions, thoughts, and opinions. That's my only requirement. So this was really old, and the kids posted, ages ago they did this. This was years ago we did this. And I'd let them post and post. That night, I would go home and I would look at the Padlet and I would see their level of posting is just terrible. They're like, this is the worst comments. And so I'd have to, got to teach you how to write a good comment. And they got better. And you know what I would do? Wait, don't tell anyone. Wait, now you're going to tell everyone. I might have posted a few posts myself and said, look at this great post. This is exactly what I was looking for. Who did this? And they were like, you guys are being shy. It's okay. I won't out you on that one. But let's look. What did this student do correct with the post? And today, can you guys do more like this student? And they're like, oh yeah, we could do that. So they would get better and better at their posts. And every day they would post more. Well, one day they came in and I had color coded them pink and green. And I said, all right, class, alongside refugees, we've been talking about kinds of questions. We've been talking about open and closed questions. Which ones are open and which ones are closed according to my color code? And I'd have a debate and we would talk about it. And then I would say, all right, today I want you to go through the Padlet and I want you to find a closed question. That means something you can go and answer. I want you to find that question. I want you to go back onto the Explore board or whatever you want to call this. I want you to see if you can find the answer to that question and post it in the comments. Start answering each other's questions if you can. So I want you to go back into the text set and I want you to find answers if you can. If you can't, it's okay if you do side research. Open up new tabs. And that would get them going a little bit. And then I would say, all right, let's look at the open questions. Find one that you really are like, wow, I'm really into that question, or write a new one. And folks, that will be your essential question as we start this unit. That will be your question that you will be doing your final project about. It offered choice. It let them have like a lot of time to discover those. And I would talk about what is a good open question versus not. This Padlet became my teaching source every morning. Sometimes I would go to one of the questions that they wrote and I would say, we're going to just talk about this question today. This is today's lesson. I know you took 8 minutes to build a lot of knowledge. Today, we're going to just talk about this question. Or I might say, today we are going to be talking about this article. Everyone, even if you've already read this, this is our lesson for the today. Let's open it and learn together on this one. So I wasn't creating more lessons. Some kids had preview of this. Some kids are like, oh, I didn't get to that one. Now I don't have to do it. And I would teach them how to read deeply, how to infer, how to pull out vocabulary, how to write essential questions from their reading. So it was a lot of direct instruction from letting them explore first. Then my explain took on this whole new life. And it was so great because I had already put in the work by making this. I had never realized how much I could teach from a Padlet, and it was like a game changer for me. Now, I do this all the time with my students now. That was a lot, and it was a lot about how to learn from one, how to teach from one. Now, my students are virtual students, and we use Edgenuity. And Edgenuity is an online platform learning, and they don't love it all the time. They have fatigue from it. And so, because of that, I let them do extensions. And you can see it has hints from the old style. I just made a copy of the old board and edited and revised it. And so they get credit for doing all of these extensions. And they say, you know what, I need to be off my computer and I want to do a novel study. I just want to read a book. I do not want to do Edgenuity's excerpts. And so I'm like, okay, you could do a novel study. And I have a whole bunch of resources that I've linked up from there. I'll tell you, AI has changed that. Actually, I've added more to the board. It's changed. I've added these two new Silk Road units and Becoming Mother Nature. I'll show that to you in a moment. And using AI and Canva for my lesson design made that so quick to make. To give a student who was like, this is too much information. He's a sixth grader and he just was so curious about Silk Road. I'm like, all right, let's take a deep dive. I will make a pull-out unit just for you, personalizing it just for those students. So that's been an aha. That has just been in the last, I change this constantly, and the kids are still, it's still valid and working. So, how to make them? There are different ways and different uses for them. I'm going to do this part very quickly because there's no one right way. You can do whatever you want with these boards, but you can click on them and make a copy and then start. You can take everything off this board. Like, I highly recommend that. Like, if you like the design of this, take everything off, delete everything. If you want to leave the keywords, you can do that. You can change the colors. You can, and that's pretty easy. You can just go to File and Page Setup, and you can change your page color that way. You can go in and click on any part of that's orange. You can change the orange color. It's just a Google Doc. And same with the lines, you can change the line color. I play with this probably way too much. It's like a little obsessive thing with me. I want it to look right. I don't want kids to, I want them to open it and say, ooh, what's that? So this one was really calming to me. I really appreciated it. I've changed this so many times because what works and what doesn't work. So you could see lots of changes from that first image. Sometimes when I want them all on the same choice board, I'll give them something like this and I'll put the Padlet in the middle to gather their information. But sometimes I want them doing it on their own because I need to evaluate their thinking. And so I create it this way. And I still let them have choice. I'm like, you do not have to do all of these. But you know what they do? They start at the top and they go right down the list. And that's when I was like, oh, I've got these, I have to unlearn. We need to do some unlearning. I want you to jump around. That's how the game board actually started because they couldn't let go of that. I'm like, the images were a little, they gave me feedback. They did not love this, but sometimes I loved it because it was me gathering data if they can learn. Now, again, there's some second grade and lower grade teachers in here. And it's a lot. It's overwhelming. And so I want you to see these examples. One of my favorite ways to use a choice board is before I start a novel. And it builds background knowledge for that novel. And the one and only Ivan was one of my favorites because the first time I read it, everyone was like, what? A gorilla in a shopping mall? What? They could not understand why they couldn't form visualizations for this. They're like, why is he in the mall? Is he real? I mean, it was just crazy. And then when I told them he was a real live gorilla in a real live mall, they're like, what? So I put all my resources here. Now this is a lot still for them. And so my younger grade teachers broke it down and they made only 4 squares: watch, view, read, learn. And those are even harder to narrow down what you're going to put into only 4 squares. And I had another teacher who wanted to do it together because the kids, they were third graders. And look, oops, no, that didn't work. Let me go back. There we go. Um, I guess this might not be linked. I thought I had linked that. It might be in the comments underneath in the speaker notes. Um, but she would have them pick a slide and then they would come to the carpet and they would take notes together as a class. So she pre-taught them how to learn on something like this, which I thought was brilliant. I thought it was a really great idea. And here is Ivan in that other format if you want to collect it from the students. So, oh, thank you. You're dropping them in there. Yeah, there's all different versions. And I think you need to do what your learners need. So if you see them struggling on the big choice board, maybe they don't know how to wonder about the story. And so as a class, you need to do that together. It can also be an assignment on top of it. So how do you do them? How do you make these? Well, this is one of my favorite. I still go to this collection of multimedia tech sets. Well, did I change the name? Let's see. I thought I changed the name. No, didn't change the name on this one to choice boards. And there's a collection here. They're all different grade levels. They're sorted by subjects. It's really not fancy. It's just a doc. But there's so many good ones on here. Like I love this Newton Law one. And it's so different. This is a high school one. And I always go back to this one. I went through this entire one as a teacher. I was just interested in learning about this. And I thought it was very cool because I used a lot of football and NFL through it. And all of a sudden, I was really able to explain this to other students really well. If you like this, you can go to File and make a copy. That is a part of when we started HyperDocs, we started Teachers Give Teachers. That was really important to us because if someone is going to take all this time, like this took me weeks to make, this took me a long time. I want to share it. Why wouldn't I want all students to have access to this? And I did it with Scott. Okay, Scott helped me. I give him credit down there. And so, yes, we'll give Scott the credit because he's awesome with this too. And you can put your name down there. And, it's okay to give credit to other teachers. Um, but yeah, I can drop Newton's right away. And I know you're like, wait, I want that one. I know, love that one. There are so many on here that I like that I could spend all day just pointing them out. There's a lot of history ones. Some of them, I just really like the colors. I know that's silly. Um, okay, is this one? Maybe. Oh, the California Gold Rush one is just really appealing. But I'll tell you, when I went to this is very important also. I really think this one is so pretty. I loved it. I'm like, this is going to be a great lesson. And I hope Jessica's not in the room right now. Jessica, it's a no offense. I could see her name down there. She made this one. No offense, but you have to read every link and say, do I want that on there? And little by little, I was like, oh, I don't want any of these links on here. It's pretty, but it's not really what I wanted. And so you can copy the style, add different things to it, and find what you really want and redo it. I think I ended up like redoing this whole one and kind of copying it. And it does take a little work, but at least the beginnings are done. Oh, Genevieve made this one. I love that. So Genevieve is from Santa Clara County. And actually, she was the one who came up with the game board design to begin with. So they're great for review. You can see some of these are just a review of how to do a math standard. And that's kind of great for them when they're done with a unit before they move on. So these are mentor samples for you. They get you going. If you want to start with some fun ones, my Valentine one has always been really fun. Just to do it for a special occasion for little ones. And again, check these links or pare it down. Don't have so many. That's all right to do that as well. Our time is going fast, and I have quite a share for you. I got to get to it. These are some of my favorite places to find resources, and you'll notice I always like to vary the resources. I don't want to do all readings. I want some listening, I want some watching, and I want some websites that they can explore. And also design-wise, I use Unsplash and Noun Project for the boards for copyright-free images. Very important. I also am I'm not a hoarder. I like the word curator better of resources, but it's getting bad. Like I was like, you should see my Pinterest. It's like thousands of pins of web tools that might work in your choice boards. And then I think I went to like the next curation tool. Like I'm just gonna call it a curator because it sounds nicer of resources. I want to talk to you a little bit about Explore Board, Choice Board. And again, I've said, don't worry about the name, just make cool stuff. Here's another one I did for a Smart Start for the beginning of the year. These are not HyperDocs, but there are little lessons embedded all on here. And so some are just a game, like the Wordle. That's when we made this when Wordle was just really popular. And some are full lessons, like one little word for 2022 was a full HyperDoc lesson embedded in there. And this was a great way for us to start our virtual year between them. I'm going to kind of skim through this really quickly, but these show what you know tech sets go back years. Like this dates itself. How many web tools are no longer here? I'm like, yeah, like Adobe Spark. Okay. Flipgrid, it's not there. I don't even use Educations anymore, and I just stopped using ThingLink. But there's some of them that, look, Canva is holding out. I have made these though, and fill it with your favorite tools, and in the center, put a form. And after you do your refugee unit, tell the students, show me what you know. You can pick any web tool to show me your knowledge. You can do slides. You can make a video. You can do an Adobe Spark page. And it used to be Flipgrid. Just talk it out. Show me what you know. And I would have parameters around that. And they would post it in the form right there. And that was kind of a cool way for them to have choice, for them to not have one size fits all assessment was very important to me. And this kind of was another one that I'd love to get back to. I have actually for our project-based learning, we use it still. I just give less choices. I tend to find 4 web tools are a good amount of choices. One that allows them to speak, one that allows them to be creative, and a super easy one, like a low bar one that anyone can do. And if you like this, you can make a copy of it, edit it, and it is yours, and take off all of those web tools that are gone. Now you stayed to the end, and here's what I have for you. I get so excited about GZM shows. Has anyone heard of GZM shows? Gen Z Media. These are audio stories. They are not, I know they call themselves podcasts. They are not podcasts. They are audio stories. And if you've heard of 6 Minutes, these are free. Use the free ones. They have lots of ads, but that's okay. They are 6-minute episodes, but there's 100, so maybe that's too much. But it's amazing all right, class, especially elementary. If you clean up the room, I'll put on another podcast or rainy day recess. It is amazing. I am loving all of these stories. I actually, every October, you might put this on your list to try this one in October. And if you scroll down, you'll see there are explore boards and choice boards. What do you know? I worked for this company for a year and I created explore boards and choice boards and a listening guide for all the shows that were on there. Most of the shows. We're coming back and they added more shows. So on this, you can see the explore board is meant before you listen to the podcast. And I created this. This was background knowledge on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. There's a script, there's a map. Where is Sleepy Hollow? They can learn the original story. They can see the movie. This is one of my favorites. I use it every year. The kids love it. They are really into it. And then the choice board at the end, they can choose a square to do and they can try. All of these are related to the story. Being a detective, can you solve things? Sometimes they're just silly, making spooky tunes. There's a short writing project. This is a big lesson. There's a digital escape room, and then 2-sentence creepy stories. Now, I wanted to share this with you because there are many shows. I've kind of curated some of my favorites on there, but do go to the website. I see the link got dropped, GZM Classroom, and you can see all of their shows. I'm making all of the 8th graders are doing Iowa Chapman and the Last Dog. It's a dystopian story, and I love it. It's probably my favorite one. The kids love Mars Patel. If you do U.S. history, young Ben Franklin is kind of fun. There's two of them. And I just can't say enough about them. But I have to say, you know, it is very important. I learned this as a teacher. I taught fifth grade for 20 years. And until my children who were at my school were in fifth grade, until they brought my homework home or, my colleagues' homework, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been assigning these kids? You have to do your own homework. And I realized in a virtual world, assigning those choice boards was not working. And I encourage you to make it work for you. So this was my hack. This was my change. Oh no. Come on. No. Well, I don't know. Let me find a different copy. Just open it. I know we're running out of time. We're getting down. If you have any questions in the chat while I'm finding this.
Lisa, you had an appreciation from one of our team members, Tani, who captured a little gem. You shared, don't worry about the name, just make cool stuff. So that's a great takeaway quote from what you're sharing today. And we did have a question a little bit earlier from Trisha in the chat, which is, when you're thinking about accessibility for your students, do you include alt text for the images in your explore boards and choice boards?
Great question. And you'll notice I try to limit text because I feel like it can be cumbersome. And so I have to be careful about, oh, it's still doing that. I just shared it. Okay, I'm gonna reshare on a different screen, and because I have it open. I think it depends on the students in my classroom at the time. I have noticed when I share too much text, they don't read the words. I should have told you from the very start. Hi, I'm a middle school teacher, and our motto of the year is read all the words because they don't read the instructions. They don't like they skip them. And so I've really been kind of experimenting and playing with that. I think in terms of accessibility, though, if I want them doing this asynchronously, I do need to make sure that's there. And that's where this comes in. So I'm sharing the screen. I repackaged Becoming Mother Nature. It's such a great story. Takes place in Morro Bay, which is kind of cool. And I put it on a doc for them. So everyone got one doc with all three parts. And I was very clear with my instructions. Here's your choice board. List 10 things you learned from the choice board. So I did have to structure it a little more because I wasn't there. I wasn't in the classroom. We're virtual. And it did make them, they actually went through it really well. Then there was the listening guide, which I didn't even open for you to look through. And it was pretty big instructions. They had to make a copy of it and then link their listening guide here because I needed them. This is like their turn-in sheet. And it gave instructions. I number them. I try to make them as clear as possible. I use bold lettering to emphasize. And then the last part, this was really important for them. And it's a little different from what I have done on the other choice boards. I needed to put points on everything because some are big and some are small activities. And I told the students, you have to do 35 points worth of work for full credit. You can do more and earn extra credit, but I tried to make the points add up easily. So this was 20, if they did 20 and 10, and just this was a really easy one. And you kind of get the gist of it. They kind of loved that. It still offered choice, but it enabled them to they needed structure. That was like the sixth graders. They were like struggling with structure. What do you know? And so, like I said on that last slide, make it work for you. And I believe I don't need to share again. We have 2 minutes left. My last slide is just who I am and my information. And I have 2 minutes to share a couple questions. Any more questions? Oh, yes, the Long Walk to Water resource. Um, I believe they're linked on here. I will drop this chat in the chat. Someone's asking me directly for it. This was the multimedia text sets all linked together, or choice boards. And I believe it's on there. You can always email me for one if you're looking for one. But like I said, well, it's, you can struggle with the like designing and creating and making it look pretty. To me, we spent the most time today talking about how to learn from them and how to teach with them. And I think that's why they've lasted over 10 years and they're still my go-to. The GZM piece at the end, that is for after testing and you're like, what am I going to do with these kids? I'm telling you, it is magic. Put on one of the shows. They will be begging you, can we have part two? Even older students, because they all end on cliffhangers every single episode. They're so fun. So,
Can I ask you a quick question about
yes.
those?
Yes.
The age group, it's for middle school and high school, you believe? The Gen Z
I think you can go lower.
GZM classroom, I'm sorry.
Definitely third grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think if you listen to it first, and see, they're so fun. I've had a lot of siblings, a lot of families use it for family instead of reading a book at night. They listen to the story at night all together as a family. Road trips. It's great for spring break to share with families for road trips. I even made my husband listen to 6 Minutes all the way to LA, 100 episodes. He got into it. So there's
Thank
four
you.
seasons. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, thank you. I just really encourage you to just give it a try. If it doesn't work, really study the kids. Like what's not working and then change it up the next day. Don't give up on it. Like keep working at it. And the kids, that's why the training wheels are on there. Now do you get it? Like they're gonna get in and like, what's this? I don't want to do this. And they'll be done in 2 minutes. That's because they have to practice with training wheels and just keep going, keep trying. Anyway.
Thank you so much, Lisa. One of the things I really appreciate about everything that you've shared is that it's all classroom tested. And you can tell that there's iterations and additions and tweaks that you've made from valuable classroom experience with students to make them better, make them more usable. And so even something as simple as switching it to that point system so that it was better utilized by your students. That's just something that is so valuable because teachers can take that idea and they don't have to sort of test it out and make that tweak themselves. So I just really appreciate all of the energy and expertise that you put into each of the resource that you shared. So thank you.
You can tell I love teaching, huh? So
Yes.
glad to be back
Yes.
with kids in middle school. I made it, middle school from fifth grade.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much for joining. For the sake of time, I'm just going to have Sarah drop the link to our Padlet, our Closing Thoughts Padlet in the chat. If you have any appreciations or thoughts you'd like to share with us, we invite you to hop into that Padlet. We'll meet again for our last EdTech Playground of this school year in May. We'll send some more information out about that via email. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your evening if you're in California. If you're not, I hope you have a great rest of the next couple hours that are ahead of you. So thank you everybody so much for joining us.